When the case of a very tragic slaying turns cold due to limited evidence, no leads, and seemingly no suspects, a young lady comes forward to help the police solve what is turning into a cold case. This young lady goes by the name of Teresita Basa. What's interesting about Teresita, though, is she's the victim. So how does she, someone who is no longer in the land of the living, help the police solve her very own case? Stay tuned. What's up, gang? It's your girl Savy from Savy, Sentient, and welcome to another installment of Spooky Saturdays. Before we get into this video, I'm going to ask that you hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, hit that like button, and say hello in the comments below. Doing these things are absolutely free, and they also help push this channel in the algorithm. Most importantly, it's greatly appreciated. So thank you so much for that. Now let's go ahead and get into this video. Alright, gang, so today's case takes place in Chicago, Illinois on February 21st in 1977. So somewhere around 9 p.m., the police and the fire department are called out to an apartment building where seemingly a blaze is confined to one specific apartment. Once they get up to the apartment and put out the blaze, the scene that they find is absolutely disturbing. Okay, so once all of the fire has been taken care of and they can get in there and see what they're working with, they find that the fire is coming directly from the living room, and in the center of the living room is a mattress. The mattress from the bedroom had been drug into the living room. So naturally, this mattress is going to be investigated as the source of the fire. But as they're investigating, they find that there's actually a woman's body underneath the mattress. So once they begin to inspect the body, what they find is that it seems this young lady had been forced into involuntary intimacy with her attacker, and that she had been mortally wounded with a sharp object through her chest several times. However, during an autopsy, they will come to find that she actually had not been intimate before she had passed. And also they would find that a lot of the evidence was absolutely unusable and destroyed due to the fire, which was obviously the attacker's intent. Because of this, though, the investigation does quickly hit a brick wall. In fact, this case would stall for 6 months, essentially going cold with no leads and no evidence. However, somewhere around this 6-month mark, the police were actually contacted by a couple. This couple wished to stay anonymous, but they seemed to have some information that could really help break this case wide open. However, the way that they obtained this information would absolutely take the police aback and a forth and aback again. So before I get into the evidence that this couple has, let me go ahead and give you a little backstory on the victim, Miss Teresita Basa. Teresita moved to the U.S. in the 1960s from the Philippines, and she was a respiratory therapist. She was very well liked by the co-workers she had at the hospital, and seemingly had no enemies at all. From what I could determine, she lived alone in this apartment complex, seeming to be very quiet, and like I said, no known enemies. So the lead detective on this case, his name is Joe Stachula or Stachula. It's spelled like Stachula, but I think it's pronounced Stachula. Not sure, but we're just gonna call him Detective Joe. Now, like I said earlier, while the police were in the apartment investigating, they came to the conclusion that a lot of the evidence was absolutely destroyed in the fire. But there was one piece of evidence that would actually be a key piece as this story progresses. So inside of Teresita's apartment, there was a handwritten note. I guess she had like a notepad or something like that, where she had a handwritten note. And this handwritten note stated that she was expecting theater tickets from someone by the name of AS, just the initials AS. And they believe that this AS individual may have actually been in her apartment on the night of her unaliving. So when Detective Joe happens upon this piece of evidence, he actually decides that he wants to reach back out to that couple who said that they might have some more information about the incident. And so he reaches back out to see if maybe they have some idea of who AS actually is. When Detective Joe reaches back out to the couple, he finds out that the wife actually works at the same hospital as Teresita and was a respiratory therapist as well, and worked alongside her like every day. So she actually knew Teresita through work. So the wife's claim is that one night while she was on her shift, she was extremely tired and decided that she was just going to lay down on the couch in like the employee lounge and take a brief little nap. While she was on her way into this nap, she says that Teresita Basa actually appeared to her as an apparition there in the room. She says only seconds after she closed her eyes, she could feel the presence of someone, and then she saw her. But this would only be the first visit from Miss Basa. So 2 weeks later, Sis is at home and she's asleep. Okay, she goes up to her room because she had been feeling extremely fatigued lately, and so she goes up to her room and she decides she's gonna lay down. A little while later, her husband decides to come up and check on her to see how she had been doing. Now, the fact that she had been feeling extremely fatigued is going to be very important once we get to the intuitive breakdown, so hold on to that little piece of information, okay? So as he's checking on her and she responds, he notices that her voice sounds very different. Like this is not the voice of his wife coming out of her mouth, okay? When he comes into the room and gets closer to his wife, he can hear her saying, "Help me, help me." And for whatever reason, he responds with, "What's your name?" Now, when doing the research for this case, it does seem that this couple, even though they wanted to remain anonymous, what seems very apparent about them is that they are very spiritual people and that they believe in all of this like spiritual stuff, all of the occult stuff. So I feel like the reason why he asked what her name was is because he knew that that was not his wife. So yeah, he asks, "What's your name? Like, who are you?" She responds to him with, "Teresita Basa." She says, "Go to the police. The police cannot find my killer. Tell them his name is Alan Shari, or as y'all may remember, AS. The AS that was written on the paper." Yeah. So she says that this AS is her unaliver, Mr. Alan Shari. And so this man, the husband, has a 30-minute conversation with this voice that is coming out of his wife that is clearly not his wife, claiming to be Miss Teresita. Okay. She also states that Alan Shari is an orderly at the hospital that they work at. So the wife should actually know who this person is because they all work there together. So after this 30-minute conversation that he's having with this voice claiming to be Teresita coming from his wife, there is an additional visit from Miss Teresita. And in this subsequent visit, where Miss Teresita hijacks the wife's body once again, She actually asked the husband again, like, why haven't you gone to the police? Because, like, he just didn't. I'm not sure why. But after having a 30-minute conversation with someone claiming to be a victim of a crime, I would be shook. So after this visit where he has this 30-minute conversation with Teresita, there is an additional visit that he has from her. And in this visit, she's basically like, bruh, why haven't you gone to the police yet? Because they need to know who done this to me. And his response is, you know, I can't just go to the police with no evidence. I can't just go like accusing people and I don't have anything to back it up. So Teresita was like, word, I got some evidence for you. So after he unalived me, he took my jewelry and gave it to his boo. So the husband actually does go to the police with this information, and the police hunt down the girlfriend. So the police go ahead and get Mr. AS into the police station for questioning. And during questioning, he fully admits that he had been in the apartment on the night of the incident, and also that, you know, like they were just kind of cool, they were friends. He was just there to fix her television set. And actually, he only lived a couple blocks away from her, so he could help her out from time to time. And on this night, he went to go help her with the TV, and he realized that he didn't bring the correct tools that he needed in order to fix the TV. So he quickly left to get back to the house to grab his tools. Now, AS and his girlfriend actually live together. So they go ahead and they pull girlfriend into questioning, because we already have this information from Teresita that he did this and he gave the jewelry to Bae. And so they like, Bae, we need to talk to you. So they go ahead and bring the girlfriend in and they ask her, had she received any jewelry from Mr. AS recently? And she's like, oh yeah, he bought me this or whatever. And shows the police what he bought. There was like this bracelet, and also I believe there was a ring. So what they do next is ask the girlfriend if it's okay for the family to actually take a look at the jewelry, Miss Teresita Basa's family, to go ahead and take a look at the jewelry that AS had purchased her. Okay, so when the family takes a look at the jewelry, they're like, no, because see that bracelet, that bracelet belongs to Teresita. And this bracelet was absolutely unmistakable. So when the family has a look at the jewelry, they're automatically able to point out this beautiful jade bracelet that Teresita had. But on top of that, while looking at the jewelry, they were able to point out that the ring that the girlfriend had on her finger was also Teresita's ring. I would gag. I would gag, because sis, you're wearing the belongings of a dead woman. Right? That's what your man did for you. Gross. But yeah. So at this point, AS is caught. Like, how do you refute all of this evidence against you? Okay. At that point, he knew that the gig was up, and he just gives a complete, full confession. He basically says that he staged the scene, that there was never any essay that took place, and he wanted it to look like, maybe this was just a random situation. Somebody came through the door and did all the things, and just like a robbery gone wrong type situation. He intentionally removed all of her clothes and threw them off to the side to make it look like an essay. And then until she fell asleep. You know what I'm saying? Until she fell asleep. Okay. And then he retrieved the mattress from her bedroom, put it over her, lit it on fire, and quickly fled the scene. Now, in the stories that I've heard and what I've read, there is this indication that she had been, mortally wounded with a sharp object in the chest. But in the confession that I saw, I didn't see where he admitted to that. But regardless, small details, he admitted to the entire crime and the unaliving. So, you know, justice would be served. Yeah, so at the end of the day, your girl was like, can't be me, won't be me. This case is not going unsolved. If I gotta get up from my resting place to get it solved myself, that's what I'm gonna do. And that's what Miss Teresita did. Okay, so let me know what y'all think about all this in the comments. But let's go ahead and get into the intuitive breakdown. All right, so let's break this thing down intuitively. So, as some of y'all may know, some of y'all may not know, your girl Sid is a medium. Okay, so like this story is really up my alley, and it is really a story that has stayed with me since the day that I first heard of it. And the reason why is because of exactly the way that the case was solved by the person who had been, you know, victimized in the situation. So, what is a medium? A medium is someone who can commune, conversate, you know, contact those who are no longer with us. In the story, the wife, she may not identify as a medium. Maybe she does. Like I said, these people are anonymous. But I did get the distinct feeling that they were highly spiritual people. Just from, you know, reading and watching like the videos that I watched about them. There's nothing that I saw that suggests that the wife identifies as a medium. However, the way that she was able to communicate with Teresita, absolutely, you know, mediumship. There are several different types of mediums, and there are several different ways that mediums contact those who are no longer with us. The reason why this story is so close to my heart is because the way that this wife contacted Teresita is the way that I contact those who have passed on, or rather those who have passed on contact me. Early in my journey, I didn't have any control over when people came to contact me. But remember when I told you all earlier in the story that her feeling lethargic, you know, feeling very sleepy and having to go lay down would be important. So early in my journey, whenever a spirit would want to contact me and I was just like up and about doing stuff, there would be several times where I would just get extremely sleepy. And it seems that spirits are able to contact you best when you're in what I call the in-between. You may have heard other like spiritualists or mediums call the state of limbo that you're in when you're on the brink of sleep but not quite sleep. I call that the in-between. It seems like they're able to reach you best when you're in that state. And so a lot of times spirits will force you to take your ass to sleep so they can talk to you. And like even when like my own spirits or something want to talk to me, they usually will catch me when I'm on my way to sleep. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. I try to keep a notebook next to my bed to write, you know, whatever they're saying before I fall asleep, if I'm not too tired to do it. But yeah, that's usually the time that seems easiest for spirits to contact mediums. So I absolutely believe 1,000% that Miss Teresita did speak through this woman, only because I've experienced it firsthand. This is something that is absolutely possible. And I think that it's absolutely amazing the way that Miss Teresita advocated for herself even in death. Like she would not let this go unsolved, especially when the person who did it was just like right there. Like, this was not some serial unaliver. This was not some, you know, person on the run that, you know, the nation was up in arms about and no one could find. Like, she like, he right here. How is this a cold case? He's right there. He right there. All right, go get that boy. So yes, intuitive breakdown, absolutely possible. It's something that I have experienced myself firsthand, and in a lot of indigenous cultures, especially ATRs, this is not something that is uncommon. ATRs being African traditional religions or African diasporic religions or traditions. This is something that is actually very normalized and very common. So I kind of think it's weird that we grow up in this culture here in America. I don't know where y'all be watching from, but like here in America, like this kind of stuff is supposed to be like very taboo, and there's a lot of skepticism around it because we're raised to be skeptical. We're raised to be skeptical of it. But like in like African traditions, it's absolutely normal. It's absolutely, you know, something that everyone knows is a possibility. So I think the importance of telling this story is to actually help normalize or like destigmatize communication with the dead. They can definitely still be communicated with. There's just a different way about communicating, you know. But we can absolutely still contact our peeps on the other side, still get information from them. And Teresita gave a lot of information. She said first name, last name, where he worked, where he, I don't know if she said where he lived, but she might as well. Like she gave all the tea on him, and she solved her own case. And like, I just think this is super, super dope. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it there because at this point I feel like I'm rambling, but I just really love this case and I hope that y'all really love this case too. Let me know in the comments below what y'all thinking, how y'all feeling. All right, let me know what y'all think about this story in the comments below, and until the very next time I tell y'all another spooky story, good night, sleep tight, and if you need to, turn on the light. Bye y'all.